Yeah, hi Gunas.
Hi, sir. Yes.
Hi. Okay, so welcome to the online course, and I
Thank
think
you.
you had opted for full stack development with Django, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So before going to the course, so just like to would like to know about your
I just
okay,
finished
and
my
also
master's. Yeah.
you have
Sorry.
just finished your master's, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and do you have any coding background or
Like I didn't have any job experience before, and like I have the basic idea of how to code and stuff.
Mhm.
But I don't know, like when they give complicated scenarios and ask us to code that thing. So
Okay, so why web development?
I'm actually more focused into like designing and stuff, or getting to know how do they do it, like creating a website, maintaining it, deploying it, and where do they store all the information and that
Mhm.
kind of related stuff. So as my brother suggested me, like full stack is something that is front end and also back end.
Mhm.
And moreover, I'm comfortable using Python instead of Java. So
Oh, okay.
I thought that this would be a great career opportunity for me.
Okay, okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, so I think as you rightly said, means full stack actually comprises of full front end plus back end. Okay, so I
Yeah.
think then you must not be having any experience in the web front end and also neither in the back end. Okay, so I think both is new to you, and so you have
Um,
to.
yeah. Like based on that statement, like I can guarantee you that I've been studying computer science since 9 years. So I think I have the basic idea and basic analysis of how everything works, but I don't know, like from the company or corporative, like that side of the part, like where they deploy and how they
Mhm.
manage things inside, and how they code, like what are the questions and how are they gonna tackle the problem and stuff. So yeah, I'm good with the basics
Okay,
of
okay, so
HTML or yeah, Java.
HTML, CSS, JavaScript, so all the basics you know, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, 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 no worries. Okay, so before starting to the topics, I think first of all, I would just like to inform you, means uh, okay, so you know this in today's world we have two kind of applications mainly. No, no, not two kind. I think it's a three kind. So mobile applications, web applications, and another is desktop applications. Okay, so
Okay.
yeah, and all of them uh, somehow they require programming knowledge as well as uh, programming knowledge means the language I think that you have to choose, and the another one is the uh, like database. So that is a must for backend part. So where
Yeah.
you actually store a state of the current application. Suppose if you are actually trying to open a website, so it has got various states in it. Okay, so all the states are actually being stored in the database. Somewhere it has to be stored up. Then only you will actually get to that current state. Means whatever state you want. So that state will be just that replica will be stored in the DB. Simply click on that, you get that state correctly in front of
Yeah.
you. So that's why we need to have something which can actually where it can persist, correct? So that's why for
Mhm.
that we have a DB, and that UI part that you already know. So that is a front end. Okay, so front end is another language. So that is that language also we should be knowing. So for that already there are many frameworks and also there are many courses for that. Okay, so like JavaScript, CSS, and HTML. So they all are the basics. And combining all these three language only, we have actually developed many language like jQuery. So the jQuery is actually the combination of all these three only, correct? And
Okay.
then yeah, we also have Node.js. Okay, so Node.js is a combination of JavaScript. Sorry, it's only JavaScript. Node.js is that is a backend language, and with the help of Node.js, you can directly
Sorry,
develop an. Yeah.
I missed the past 20 seconds. Like it was gap.
Okay, should I repeat?
Yeah. From the after the jQuery.
Okay, so the after jQuery, what I told means we have another language that is Node.js. Okay, so I was talking about Node.js. So Node.js is also one of the language which actually can develop with the help of Node.js. You can directly develop an application. You do not to learn any other language. Okay, so that actually comprises of only JavaScript. That is purely JavaScript, and with the help of JavaScript only you can develop an application. So JavaScript will work as a backend language as well. JavaScript will work as a front-end language as well. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and JavaScript is something I think when you go and the applications that you see on your machine. Okay, so that browser is actually, and it works as an editor for JavaScript. Means that is actually JavaScript is easily understandable. Okay, so JavaScript is an scripting language, so that does not require any compiler or any editor to be run. Okay, so every browser understands JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. Okay, so I'll just quickly share my screen and would like to show you some of the applications which are actually recently means commonly used. Okay, and we'll see their codes in the backend how they are actually written. So suppose if you open anything like if you, I think, okay, so like you had seen Netflix, correct? So you must have used it. Okay, so we'll see how it works. Okay, so if you look at this page, correct, this is a web application, and we know that so all the contents that you see here, so they all are static contents, correct? So they are not changing now. But if user tries to interact with this application, so what happens? It starts changing, correct? So you enter your email address, so that request is going in the backend, and then response is coming from the server, somewhere server. Means some third means at from some place that we don't know, correct? So we are simply user is just they are sending the request and they are getting the response, but they don't know from where they are getting it, correct? So that is actually done by the Netflix team. So they have already done all this hosting and all, and where the codes are kept, where their server are there. Okay, so all those requests and response, so they all are being taken care by the Netflix team. So if you go and view page source, okay, right click and you do the view page source, so you can see the complete code is actually wrapped up in very few lines. That is 19 line only, you see. Okay, but that is not so. In the backend there are so many codes written. Okay, so they are just exposing those codes only which are not vulnerable. Means anybody can come and play with their code. Okay, so that's why they are actually showcasing only, they are abstracting their layer. Okay, means the abstraction is means they are only showing the unnecessary part to the user, which is actually not for the use. Okay, so simply if you see here, they are writing the JavaScript. See, this is a JavaScript they have written. Okay. Because this Netflix application is based on completely Node.js. Okay, and if you see here on the top, we have this HTML, correct? So every page that you see in your application, so they all are comprised of HTML. Okay, HTML is used for the static content that you wanted to show on your web application, and JavaScript is actually JavaScript language is used to interact with the HTML. Okay, you have HTML element, but they are static. They don't talk to people. Okay, so if you wanted to talk to the HTML element, so in that case, you'll have to apply JavaScript over that, so that you can actually modify any view, or you can actually send some data, or you can receive some data. So all these things happen with the help of JavaScript. So I think you know how the web application works. So I'll just quickly give you an overview on that as well.
Got it.
Okay. So similarly, if you open another web application, so okay, so that may have different page source. I'll just open another one. We'll see that. Okay, like if you open Geeks for Geeks, or okay, So this is one of the web page, okay? And then again, if you go and inspect this web page, you see here there are so many codes written, correct? So they all
Yeah.
are static content, which is actually running in the backend when you are showing it, okay? And if you inspect this, you can see just look at the lines of code which are written. So it starts from HTML, then we have a HTML body, okay, head and body, okay. So this is a complete page that you see.
Okay.
Okay, but okay, you also have the console here. See here. Okay, what this console does? So I told you the web, this web page is actually this is a Chrome browser, correct? When you just hit a URL, it displays you the website, and at the same time, it also gives you a console, means an editor where you can directly write a JavaScript code. Okay, so if you write, you can write a JavaScript code here where x equal to anything, okay, is equal to 45, okay, and so now if you go and print x, it will give you 45. See, so this is an editor. Your browser is an editor. You can directly write the JavaScript code. It will understand it, okay, and it will also give you the responses. So and also, okay, so in today's class, I'm not going to cover from means any particular topic. I'll be just beating around the bush, okay. So I'll be teaching you. No, I'm not teaching actually. It's an overview class, demo class. I think not the course has not started yet. So that's why I'll actually teach you just overview of the topics I'll be giving, okay, and then also I'll be talking about what are the things that we are going to cover if in this full stack development course, correct? Okay. So if you look at the sections that we have, we have styles here, okay, we have a layouts, we have an event listener, and then I think if you look at the styles, you see here in the body we are having curly braces on the tags, okay, and they are nothing but an CSS, okay. So CSS are actually for styling the page, okay. So styling the page means you write a content in the page, but that does not look good to the user. So that's why we apply some CSS over that, so that the page becomes beautiful to the looks beautiful for the user, okay, and then they can actually it becomes interactive as well, okay. And sorry, to make it interactive, I think we use JavaScript. So okay, so then this is okay. Also, you can see here we are actually having this. This is the URL, and then if you look at this, this is the index.cshtml, okay, and the HTML page. So this is the HTML page that you see here, okay. So I have a slide which actually talks about how this web application works, okay, and okay, you already know the meaning of full stack, correct? So the meaning of full stack is front end plus back end, okay? So in front end, I think in this course that we are going to cover is, it will start from the HTML, and then it will go to the basic HTML, then it will go to the advanced HTML, and then it will cover CSS, basic CSS, advanced CSS, and then it will also cover JavaScript, basic JavaScript and advanced JavaScript. I think you would have already seen the course content or not.
No. Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, there are all the topics of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, correct. And in the final, I think it was Django.
Correct. And the last you will be getting to know Django. Yeah. So before jumping to Django, I think we need to cover all these small topics so that it will be very easy for you to actually start developing a web application. So Django is actually the combination of all these things that we are going in the we are studying in the front in the starting of the lectures. Correct. So Django is nothing but that is a framework which is already pre-written. Okay. And we are simply reusing that. Okay. So Django is nothing but a framework kind of thing. So framework, I'll talk about framework, what is framework, but I think as of now, I'll be telling you what are the topics that we're going to cover and also what they contains. Okay.
Okay.
And throughout the course, we are going to use the text editor, that is Visual Studio Code, or either we'll be using Atom text editor. Okay. And then inside that, we will also be doing a small project, which actually will be a problem statement, and that problem statement will be converted to a web application. Correct. You will be given the inputs, and then you will have to develop a web application. So the small topics, the small kind of assignments will be there, which you will have to do it yourself. Otherwise, we can do it together. Okay. So
like, are there any like examples of how it's gonna be, or any example questions, so that I can, like, just see and if it's available in the course content, like with you?
Currently, I think I don't have it, but I'll be preparing it for you. Means every time I prepare it, so
Okay.
that it is based on your knowledge base. Okay. Also, it also depends on the lectures that I'll be delivering. Okay. And so it will be a combination of all the lectures that I have delivered, and based on that, I'll be preparing a means problem statement, and also can be an I think with the sets of I think web applications will be there, but I think for that, to develop a web application, I think you should first start developing a static pages. So it will be a stage-wise application. Okay. So you can't directly develop a web application, correct? So it will be a stage-wise application development. So first of all, you will be able to design a static web page. Okay. So once you start designing a static web page, so then I'll ask you to add few styling in it, and then the next topic, the next stage will be, you will start writing some JavaScript which can interact with the static pages. Okay.
Okay.
So it will be a part-wise development. Okay. So it will not be like you will be just given a, you will be asked to write a program which actually runs a web application, which actually develops a web application. It cannot be a one-day process. You'll
Okay.
have to study them in a topic wise, and then at last only you can do that. So like if I am actually teaching you an HTML topic, so at that time at last you'll be asked to develop an HTML page, which actually can be a combination of development of an tables or div, or means in the HTML pages can contain anything, like a static page, a static views only it will contain. Okay. So all these things can be a part of first assignment. Then according to the topic, it will be actually going on. Okay.
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 So does the course have like any type of real world scenario or interfaces where, so for example, like if you have a software team or
Yeah.
something is already deployed in the system, and any project kind of thing, and if I would be a part of it, and I just want to know like how it's gonna be. So does the course cover that thing?
I
Like
think
I
if I
haven't seen
Yeah,
that in the.
no. See, I'll be giving. The course content will not be an industry project, but it will be a capstone project. Okay, means kind of project which actually will be combination of 3 to 4 pages maximum, and from one pages to another pages you can jump on. Okay, so
Okay.
that will try to develop
Hmm.
just step by step with the help of Django framework. Okay, so that's the idea, and that will also be interacting with the DB. So all those things a basic web application actually comprises of, will be able to develop that application at last of the project.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you need not to worry on that. Means if you are actually interested to work on more advanced project, so that also I'll be arranging for you, and we can do that together. Okay.
Okay. Uh, uh, just a small question. Like,
Yeah.
I think I don't know if I should ask that, but yeah, I just want to know like, what's your experience in Python? Like, from how many years, and So it's just a basic question. I just
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
know.
So from last 5 years, I am into Python development.
Okay.
Okay. So
Yeah. So I just want to know like if it is like experience so that I can gain more knowledge from you, get to know more things. That's why I asked.
yeah, yeah, no issue. So
Yeah.
yeah, I have been working as a software developer. Okay,
Okay.
already. So I have been using Python, C++, C Sharp, all these language. Okay, and
Oh,
mostly Python as a main language. Okay.
okay. Okay. Yeah. Mm, okay.
Any more questions?
That's it from my side. Yeah, like as you have explained. Yeah. I just gone through everything, the course content and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but if you look at your course content, so it actually covers the basics of the every front end topics as well as the back end topic. Okay. And
Yeah.
also we'll also have, I think classes and objects
Yes.
in Python.
Yes. Like in
Yeah,
Python, I think, yeah, I
Python classes
cross.
and objects.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, because they will play a major role. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so then that will be easier for us to actually start learning this topic because if you are not actually if you don't have any prior knowledge or experience over those topics as well, so it will be bit difficult for you to actually get that. Okay, so because
Uh,
you will have to first grasp those topics and then only you can move to the web development. Correct?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I do have a little experience doing my master's. Like we had some assignments and
Okay.
whatever we use classes and objects for that. I think it was big data where we had to pull some information from the CSV files and stuff. So
Okay.
yeah, I think I have the knowledge. Like I can understand it easily. No worries on that.
Okay. No issue.
Yeah.
Okay, so just leave on that means I'll actually start teach. I'll just show you how this web application actually works. Okay,
Okay.
so when you start typing the URL into your browser, okay, so just now we took this, we saw that means we were actually typing that netflix.com. Okay, so what
Yeah.
happens in the back end? So that we'll see. Okay, so when you
Yeah.
start typing the URL, so it actually you type the URL inside your computer, correct? And you are connected to some of the net means in connected with a network means that is the internet. Okay, so that is
Mhm.
present over all over the world means internet is present all over the world, but definitely every time you are connected to a particular network that actually has certain IP address. Okay, so
Yeah.
now when you actually hit the URL means when you hit the enter, so what happens? Okay, so it actually uh, sends the request which includes the IP address of the website you want. Okay, so everything like if you see here www.abc.com. Okay, so this is
Yeah.
the domain name that is visible to the user outside world. Okay, so I
Mhm.
think for the comfort for the comfort of the user, we are actually defining this name www.abc.com like www.netflix.com. Okay, so this is for the user, but in the back end it is a complete number. Okay, so that is an
Yeah.
IP address we say.
Mhm.
Okay, and that IP address is now means what we did, we when the request is sent means request comprises of means suppose uh, request can be of anything like user typing the URL into the URL bar and then hitting the enter tab can send a request to the server. Okay, so server is lying where, so we are actually creating a request package which actually includes the address of the website that I want. Okay, so that
Yeah.
address where the address can be anywhere inside this network. Okay, it can be in my network or in any other network, correct? So the
Yeah.
network can be, now the job of this website is to find out that particular network. So what happens, it actually it sends the request through this satellite, means the internet that we have all over the world. So
Yeah.
so once what happens when it tries to find out that internet service provider, okay, it links to that. Okay, so means suppose if your site is hosted at some other server, okay, so that
Yeah.
server is continuously running 24/7. Okay, so that that server has to run 24/7. Then only when we are requesting, then only it can serve that request. Otherwise, if the server is down, you would have seen that sometimes you are not able to access any site. So the reason is server is down, correct? So server
Yeah.
is something which is running 24/7 and which is running 24/7 just to response, okay, just to give the reply to the request.
Got
Okay.
it.
Yeah. So in the similar fashion, so when you try to hit any URL, so the network, the request goes to the network and it tries to find out the exact response for that. Okay. And as soon as the server receives the request, so it actually prepares a response for that. Okay. And then once response is prepared, it actually sends back the response to the client
User.
machine from where the request had came. Okay. And then it also sends the request, means that response can be a huge amount of data as well, correct? So when you're trying to hit something, so you might get a very large amount of data, and to process a very large amount of data over the network, it actually a very high means tedious job, because over the network you can't send a very huge amount of data. The data has to be sent into a broken down format. Okay, so it has to be a small pockets and packets, and then only they can be sent over the network. Okay, so now what happens when you're sending the data, means as a response, so what happens, so some the data can be received by the client in any other format, correct? Means some data can come early and some data can come little late. Okay, so these things can happen. So what happens when it is actually received by the client, so it arranges the data in a complete format. Okay, so that means it can be displayed to the user in a proper format. So that's why, and all these request and response, sending the request and receiving the response, it happens in a very fast way. Okay, so that's why you don't see, sometimes you see the delay due to network failure. Otherwise, every time you get the response in a very quick way, because it depends on the speed of the network that you are in. Okay. Okay, so like we saw, means we were actually trying to search for this IP address, and this IP address was actually lying in this server. Okay, and when we are able to find this request, the server sent us the response in this format. Okay. Okay. I think.
So I think it's like most of it is the course content.
Yeah, means course content only, means introductory topics are there.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so leave all these things. I don't want to go into the theoretical part. So, okay, so just going through, okay, so we'll actually try to see in CSS and HTML. I think you said you are already comfortable in CSS and HTML and JavaScript, correct? So then going forward, we have Python, core Python topic. Okay, so core Python topic is actually, it deals with the basics of Python. Means at least you should be knowing what is list in Python, what is tuple in Python, or what is variables in Python, correct? And how to write statements in Python, correct? And looping and conditional statement, all these things you should be clear. If you are not, even if you are not clear, we are definitely going to cover one by one in the complete topic. Okay, and once we are covered, once we are actually done with the core Python, we will actually jump to the advanced topic, that is advanced topics of the Python. Okay, and in advanced topic of the Python, we are actually going to cover that OOPS concept. Okay, so that is very much important when you are trying to learn this Django framework. Okay, So then there comes a Bootstrap. Okay. So have you heard of Bootstrap earlier?
Bootstrap. Is it a framework?
Yes,
Yeah, I
it's a
think.
framework. Correct.
Yeah.
So Django is a web framework, but
Yeah.
Bootstrap is a front-end
Java.
framework.
Is it Java related thing?
No, 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 no. Java is different. Java is
Oh,
a language. Bootstrap is a framework. Okay. So
okay.
Bootstrap is a front-end framework. So how we call this as a framework? So you know that in HTML, I think I'll show you some of the. Okay, means do you know that if we write anything in the editor and then we run that HTML, and if we save that file as a HTML file, we will be able to show that on the page, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So similarly, I think when you're able to do that, all these things. So in HTML, you would be saying that there are various tags which are available. Okay. So
Yeah.
in order to use those tags, means in order to write a, like if you wanted to create a very small nav bar, okay, I'll just show you in this page. Okay. So like if you look at the structure of this page, okay, I have this page, and on the very top, you see I have a navigation bar, correct? So these are the navigation bars.
Yes.
So if you look at the first row, like course, tutorial, jobs. So these are the menus of the website, correct? So we also call them as a nav bar, means navigation bar. Okay. So in
Yeah.
order to create this navigation bar, you have to write so many codes if you don't use Bootstrap or any other framework. The reason is if you are trying to create this, you have to write so many CSS, HTML, and JavaScript in the backend in order to create a very single line. Okay. So
Yeah.
if you are stuck in all these developments, you will never be able to develop a web application, because that is going to take a very huge amount of time. Okay. So just in order to remove this complexity, so they have a framework, like in front end, they have a Bootstrap as a framework. So what this Bootstrap is doing, they are giving you a classes. Okay. They are giving you a predefined classes. You simply
Oh.
use those predefined classes, and then with the help of those predefined classes, you can directly develop this nav bars. Okay. You need not
Okay.
to write a very large codes in order to develop this navigation bar. Understood? So that's why we have a Bootstrap framework which actually helps us to develop a web application. Understood?
Yeah. So, like, as you mentioned, Bootstrap, are we also going to, like, am I also going to get the knowledge of the Bootstrap in this
Yes,
course?
yes, yes, yes. You'll also get the
Uh,
Bootstrap.
and I just have one more question. Like, I just came across the jQuery. How is it different from the Bootstrap?
Bootstrap is completely front end part. Means I'll tell you. Bootstrap, I told you, means you write CSS and HTML. Okay. So when you
Yeah.
combine both of them, so it becomes a Bootstrap.
Okay. Like,
Okay.
in
I'll just give you an example. Don't worry. I'll
uh,
just give you an example.
okay.
So if I have it, let me open that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are trying to create a site, okay. So if you are trying to create a site, so you will be asked to.
Mm-hmm.
So for that Bootstrap, you already have this. Already they are having a documentation for that. Okay. So that is means kind of doc page for Bootstrap only. And inside that, if you go, you will be. I'll just opening it here. Okay, for you. If you have never used that, I'll just show it to you. Okay. So if you see here, we have a Bootstrap 5. Okay. So this is the latest one, and you I'll just give you an example which you can actually help you to understand. So suppose if you see here, we are having a CSS link. Okay. You simply use this CSS link inside your HTML page, So you'll be able to use all the classes which are actually bundled with the Bootstrap. Okay, I told you this is a framework for me. Okay, and in this framework, you see here, if you're actually, this is a starter template for you. In the documentation page, already they are giving you everything. So now this is a HTML page, and when I wanted to use Bootstrap, so this is a Bootstrap CSS. Okay, so Bootstrap CSS means if you include this CSS style set inside your page, so you will be able to design your page in a more beautiful way. Means suppose if you are going to write a very small CS, if you are trying to write a h1 tag inside a HTML page, so that will be looking that will be a plain text which you are writing inside a HTML file. But when you use this CSS, Bootstrap CSS, so what it will do, it will just add an color to that. It will also make you it will also make you available with the different h1 tag, h2 tag. Okay, so they have h1 tag, h2 tag. So all these things are actually pre-written, and you simply have to use these classes inside your pages. Okay, so like if you see here, we have a dot selector from some widget. Okay, so this dot is actually representing what? This is a class which is already defined inside a Bootstrap. Okay, and for that you are simply writing this box sizing and content box. So what these small classes are already defined inside the Bootstrap framework. Okay, so you simply have to use this Bootstrap in order to develop a web page. You need not to go and talk about these classes from where it is coming. Okay, so they are already a part of the Bootstrap. So if you wanted to use Bootstrap, so in that case, what you have to do, you simply have to import the CSS. I think you have done importing and all, correct? So why we import certain things? Because we know that they are actually documented, well documented, and they are already existing. Okay, you need not to go and create all those codes again. They are already there. You simply import them inside your code, and you can start reusing them. Okay, so this is an Bootstrap CSS. Okay, so what we are doing here, we are importing that CSS of Bootstrap. Okay, so it is called as bootstrap.mean.css file. Okay, so this CSS file is already containing all the codes which are actually used for the modification of the HTML pages. Okay, so also it is nothing like you have only CSS file. You also have a JavaScript file for Bootstrap. So you need to use this JS file and CSS file inside your code, inside your HTML page. Rest everything can be done by the Bootstrap. Okay, so in Bootstrap you have all the HTML elements which are customized. Okay, so like if you go and say we have layouts. Okay, so in Bootstrap we have a containers, we have a grids. Okay, we have a grids. Grid layout is something you will see here. So like this is the view of a grid layout. Okay, so you have a column, three columns, and if you see here, we have a class called row. So this row class is something which is already defined inside Bootstrap. Okay, so you simply have to use this row class here. Okay, so if you give this div as a class row, it will actually design a div element for you. In that, it will be arranged in a more space, means it will be arranged in a very nice looking see here. So they have a width, they have a span. Okay, so everything is actually included. Okay, you need not to go and write it individually, and you need not to go and create this class separately for you. Already this class is a part of the CSS file that you imported. Are you trying to get it now?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, so similarly, okay, so this row class, column class, they are already there. You simply have to learn how to use Bootstrap. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is what it means. And okay, we have there are many things. Like if you go through the documentation, I think you'll come across everything that we can use. And suppose we have a tables. Okay, so suppose if you wanted to add a table to your page, you simply have to go and use this class called table. Okay, and it will do the modification. The styling part is done by the Bootstrap. See here, the first, last, so all these linings, all these headers, all this bold and formatting. So everything is done, taken care by this class table. Okay, in the HTML also we have a class called table, but I think that is not so formatted. Okay, if you go and use a simple table, so that will be a plain table. Okay, But if you use bootstrap table, so that will be looking much nicer to you. You can also use different colors. Okay, so like default, primary, secondary, success. So these all are the colors which are available directly inside the bootstrap. Already there is a documentation. You have to read them and then you have to use them inside your HTML pages. Okay, so like you can apply it on the tables, you can apply it on the rows, you can apply it on the cells as well. Okay. If you look at the various examples of the table, you can see it here in the documentation. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so this bootstrap we are also going to cover in our topics. Okay, so bootstraps are actually is actually there to make your application compatible with the mobile as well as the web application. Okay, so suppose if you are having a web application which you are writing it with a plain bootstrap and if you are writing it with a plain CSS and HTML, so that will not be compatible with the mobile application. Mobile application is very that mobile has got very small screen, correct? And if you're trying to open a website inside that mobile application, it will not adjust according to the screen. Okay, so if you are developing a website, so that has to be compatible with the screen sizes. Okay, it has to arrange its content according to the size of the screen, correct? So that's it. That is the most required thing when you're trying to develop a web application. If you don't do that, that means your website is not flexible enough to be opened on different screen sizes, correct? So that's why we prefer using bootstrap, because we don't want to take that risk. That means my website is not compatible with a different screen sizes. Okay, so if you use bootstrap, so that is automatically taking care of that. Means that you need not to worry about the opening of the websites in different screen sizes. Understood?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah. If it is there anything else like you want to cover in the demo class?
I think and the last topic, that is actually 𝐷𝐸𝐺 framework. Okay, so in 𝐷𝐸𝐺 framework we'll be directly using all these classes, CSS, HTML, and Bootstrap, and we'll be creating an application directly. We need not to go in detail about all the CSS and HTML. We can directly use all these classes which are already we have studied. Okay, so directly in 𝐷𝐸𝐺 framework we'll start developing an application directly with the help of MVC framework or MVT framework. Okay,
so like
template.
Does the 𝐷𝐸𝐺 has any kind of interface? So, like if you can explain a little bit, like how is the UI of the 𝐷𝐸𝐺? Like how are you gonna?
𝐷𝐸𝐺 has not got any UI.
Oh, okay. So like
that is also a framework. That is a web framework. Okay. The term web framework means you are trying to develop a web application, correct? So the web application, you can't go and write the code and it will develop an application for you. In order to run a web application, we require a server. Okay, means if you are not having a server, so I told you, means when you are trying to open a Netflix, so what I told, it actually is waiting for the response from the server. So that server is there on the some network. Okay, so that's why we are able to open the site in the network only. If we disconnect from the network, we will not be able to open this file because the server will not be able to respond it. Okay, so similarly, if you are trying to open a if you are trying to create a web application in my local, so at that time also we need a server to host that, correct? So that server may be in my network only, so that's why that server is local to my machine, correct? So that's why we don't need internet for that. We simply can turn off the internet, then also we'll be able to run our website in my local only. But you can't open that website in your machine because that is not available on the internet. That is available in my local. So that's why web framework will give you all those environment, okay, where you can actually run an application. Understood?
Okay.
So, and when you are trying to develop a web application, it is not done in a very haphazard way. It has got certain architecture, and that architecture you have to follow, so that when you develop a web application in future, it can be extended in a more generic way. Okay, you can't. So we are actually separating the views. Correct. We have a model, we have a view, we have a template. Inside Django, we have a template. Okay, so Django follows model view and template framework, template architecture. So like you would have heard of MVC. So MVC is a model view and controller. So that is actually used by most of the application, but Django uses MVT pattern. Okay, MVT pattern is nothing but a model view and template pattern. Okay, so you have a template, you simply have to use that. Okay, so we'll actually cover about Django in later classes when you actually in detail about Django, how it works and all. But before jumping to the Django, I think you should be well acquainted with the basics of web terminologies like the CSS, HTML, and Bootstrap and all. All these things, if you are comfortable, so we can start developing a web application. Okay, so that's what the demo is actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can continue from the next classes, and yeah, that's it from my side, I think.
Okay. Thank you so much, Satish. I think it's Satish, right?
No, Satish is actually arranging a meetings for you, but I am a trainer from.
I'm sorry. Sorry. What's your name?
Yeah, miss, you can call me Kumar, Mr. Kumar.
Okay. Thank you, Kumar. Thank you so much for explaining me. Yeah, I'll get back to you. So are the classes gonna be at the same time every week?
I think this you can confirm from Satish. Okay, means they will inform you, or you can ping them. Means at what time you want the classes to happen. Okay, and similarly the message will come to me. If we both are comfortable at that time, we can actually continue at that time. Okay.
Okay, Satish. Sorry. Okay, Kumar. Yeah. Sure. I'll talk with Satish and I'll talk with my brother, and yeah, we'll discuss regarding this and what's the course and everything. And yeah, I'll get back to you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Do I need to quit?
Yeah, you can go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You have a good day.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.